Hey everybody, Sketch Card Hive here. Today we have crazy special treat for you. Someone who's been a friend of mine for a long time, a major OG. Pretty amazing what his collection is. You probably have never seen this. My normal viewers, all the people who've known me for a long time know this guy. He's a wonderful dude. I'm so excited to introduce him to all of you and for you to see what he showed me backstage. All right, so we're going to go ahead and introduce him, and I hope everyone is excited to meet Ryan.
Hey, hello, everybody.
Hey, buddy. If you haven't noticed already, I'll give you a second to let your jaw come back up to your mouth. This is his room. Gangsta, Stutzy Wolverine, Jusco Psylocke. We got some crazy pieces up there. Okay, so do us a quick run through. Introduce yourself. A run through of that, and then introduce yourself. Perfect.
Okay, I can cover this stuff to get
Let's
people's
do it.
attention more on me. This is a Hildebrandt, 94 Jubilee, 92 Psylocke Jusco, 93 Marvel Masterpieces, Ray Lago, 94 Fleur Ultra X-Men, Phillips Rogue, Dave DeVries, 95 Storm, Dazzler, 92 Marvel Masterpieces, Jusco, the Thanos. I only got one wall behind me, but but I got the Thanos Ray Lago right behind me, and then oh my god, my brain fart. But oh yeah, Harrison, Xavier Magneto from Fleur Ultra X-Men. So, but yeah, my name's Ryan. I've been collecting for a long time, majorly X-Men, Deadpool, more specifically, but I've been doing this for a while. I got in the OA stuff several years back, and then that's slippery slope in itself.
Very slippery. With all of us opening up Marvel Masterpieces right now, everyone's starting to ask OA questions and trying to dive a little bit deeper into this world. And it is a complicated, slippery slope of a world indeed.
All roads lead there, though.
Pretty much. I mean, you can't be in collecting Marvel cards as long as you have. Once you get past, like, I think the third, fourth, fifth year mark of collecting Marvel cards, you start to be like, you know what? I wonder where the original one is. And then you have 2-3 years of searching for it. And then if you're lucky, you find one in 5.
Yes.
It is a very, very difficult place.
The hunt's one of the best things about it.
The hunt is alive and well, and it is alive and well in you, sir. This is amazing. I love what you've done with The Office. I love seeing the cards, the comics. I love seeing Deadpool up there. It's so slick, so cool, man.
Yeah, I grabbed a lot of Deadpool cards to show you today, but a lot of them's up on the wall, but these are kind of like the mediocre ones. The stuff I'll be showing is like from the vault.
The vault. So Ryan and I tried to do this before, and this week, well, now that everybody knows because of the release of MM and everything I've been doing with Dan, I got very busy, and Ryan and I had to reschedule for today. So I'm excited for this to come out this week, actually, because I think it's going to make a lot of sense for people. Ryan, for me, he's a character collector I look up to. I've met him on Blowout a long time ago. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, maybe somewhat talking on Scandal. I don't remember. Scoundrel. I don't remember now.
I think we were in our own swim lanes in Scoundrel, but definitely Blowout.
So. Definitely Blowout, and definitely Blowout, because I remember that. And definitely something I aspire to with my Surfer collection. Looking at Ryan's Deadpool collection, because he is 100%. In my mind, the Deadpool character collector, and I appreciate him so much. So gangster. We had the pleasure of meeting each other in person, having a great time at Heroes Con, which was badass. So that was fantastic, which is so fun. And I'm excited for all of you to get to know him. So let's do a couple of things first. You have stuff to show us. I know you set yourself up. Let's get into that while we talk about your journey into collecting Deadpool.
Yeah, man.
So when did it start?
Oh, well, my story is going to be very, very similar to a lot of you guys out there. So I want to say probably in 5th grade. For me, that would have been like 90 or 91. But 90 Marvel Universe came out in the schoolyard. And then I was already collecting baseball cards with the old man, which I hate baseball, but I love the collecting of it. So it seemed like that was an easy shift. But at the time, this was like maybe 92, but all that 90s and 91 stuff was still on the shelves. You could still buy it. But the two major releases that came out that I was part of from day one was that 92 Marvel Masterpieces and the 92 Jim Lee X-Men. So that just blew me away. I mean,
It's insane to think that those two sets that are so iconic were in the same year.
yeah.
That is just a ridiculous thing to realize that both of those sets came out in the same year.
Yeah,
Um,
you go to the shopping centers, the baseball card, and like they would be on the shelves for like a year and a half.
they were there, man. They were not
Mhm.
shot. I mean, like I felt like it's weird. You go to a comic book store now and it's like, hey, you have Marvel cards, and you're looked at like you should be committed. But back then,
I
they were
got that
everywhere.
last weekend.
Really?
Got
I
a
feel like I
comic
get
store
that
down
like
the shop.
once a
Yeah.
week. It's really bad. It's really bad, and I ask a lot too. So that's it hasn't changed. It's changed ever so slightly ever since the boom and cards become really big, and then Marvel cards were selling and people getting more excited about them. I always have people asking about certain inserts and stuff, and I know this is a little bit of a detour here, but it's funny. I see people discover old inserts like the Marvel Beginnings holograms, right? We talked about that briefly. Um, or, gold foil 75th anniversary. You know what I mean? Like little cards. There's always these little cards that people are discovering now. And they're like, oh, this is great. How come I can't find this or build this set and stuff like this? Could you talk to a little bit about like a character collector starting now or someone going into finding these old inserts? You know what I mean? Could you
Mhm.
maybe talk to like why do you think it's so hard for people to find these cards, or why do you think some of these things are just hidden? Because I know you and I have searched for things for a long time.
Short answer is because people like us.
That's
But
painful.
I think you and me and several others were kind of ahead of our time. But the real reason I started focusing on Deadpool because it was really quick. You can go through and get all the old category stuff from like the 90s. But then you get to a point, and then I think you're the same. But sketch cards became a thing where it's all like I started out Wolverine, Deadpool, Apocalypse, like a Ghost Rider, Venom, and then it's just like I just can't keep this going. And then Deadpool's always been my go to, so it just all got to that point where I started scooping those up.
It does become a thing where you realize, even back then, you had to realize,
Mhm.
well, I can't grab everything, right? Because there are people, and that's what I found when I was born in '85. You and I are similar age, right?
Yeah,
Is that right?
82.
82, yeah. So we're similar age. So like I was on Scoundrel, not buying anything, but I found it. Like I was printing, I was at a job or something like that, and I forgot even when. And I was just printing stuff like pictures of sketch cards because I would spot them and I'd be like, that's sick. So like Warp 9 or Bob and Betty, all these old cats, and I would just print their stuff. Spidey, Fernando's collection, like a bunch of people, I would just print their stuff. You know what I mean? Because I was just like, well, I can't buy it, but I would have copies of it. So I found that stuff. And then you just realize that people are just collecting sketch cards. And yes, they're doing every artist, but all of a sudden you have someone who collects all the Doom sketch cards. You know what I mean? Or you have someone who starts doing that kind of thinking, and then they're gone, and
Yeah,
there's no finding them at one
and
point.
it only takes two or three of them.
It really does, and then it's
Mhm.
over. And I think what people don't realize is that some insert sets are like that too. The diamond sets, people went for that, and those were locked up. The holograms, the gold 75th. There's so many cards out there where you really only need 2 to 3 people who are serious about it, and it's completely wiped the face completely off the face of the earth and gone. So with your Deadpool collection, I know you're a big sketch guy. I know you're an original art guy. I know you look at certain inserts and stuff like that. Did you do all Deadpool cards? I know you're big on grading. Like what are some things like how do you what's your categories? You know what I mean? Has to be this grade, has to be this art. You know what I mean? Like what are some of your tiers when you're looking for a card to add to the
So
collection?
I'll give you some context on this. So
And don't say anything you're hunting or you don't have to give
oh,
up
I
your
learned
highlight.
that. I learned that back in Scoundrel.
That's my boy. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
People can be ruthless. People will hold cards hostage, but a
for
big
sure.
big thing I would give advice to is one thing I learned the hard way is like no one owns a character. Like if you try to get every card for a particular character, you will suffer. You will pay top dollar. People will go
Yeah.
against you,
Yep.
hostage and rest. I mean, I think at one time, I mean, I don't know. I would say I probably had at least a third of all the Deadpool sketches, if not more. And I just got to the point where I just started getting rid of some, sharing the wealth, and being able to sleep when I don't have one of the green PMGs and stuff like that. I don't know
See,
if
and
I'm answering your questions or not
no,
about
you
like
are, you
scatter
are.
around.
No, 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 you totally nailed it.
Mhm.
Like, and I think that's what I've had to do too. And you have to realize very quickly that it's not about having everything, right? It's about having quality, not
Yep.
quantity. Like
Mhm.
that's just it. That's what you have to realize, because not only is the game changing now, and we're seeing that with MM and how many people are collecting it, but you have to understand that printing plates, cards out of 10, cards out of 5. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? At one point you really have to be like, it's just not worth the chase to just grab something that says this or this or this. You know what I mean? It's more about, okay, let me refine this and do this. You know what I mean? Let me make this make more sense in my head so I can sleep at night and not have to stalk people, which I think is a fair thing to say.
Well, I think a lot of us have the same ideology on this. Is like we all used to like master set collecting. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I used to do. Like when I got back into Marvel cards, I went back in like 2005, bought all the old inserts that I never completed as a kid, like $20, $30 for a complete set. And then once I got to that, I started seeing the sketch cards and then being like, ooh, what's this? And then I started down that slope, but I was still master collecting. And I would say Marvel Beginnings is the first set that came out where it was literally impossible to get a master set. I'm probably the closest one that has
Well,
one of it,
that I
but
know,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure you're the closest one that I
But
know. And I don't know everybody, but from what yeah, I'm pretty sure.
and from that, and I think you had the similar experience with a MM16 that nearly broke me. So after
I was done. Like I was really done. That was god awful. MM16 got, people think it was expensive out the gate. It really wasn't. It wasn't expensive out the gate. People, it was anticipated, but there were things you could grab pretty quickly. And people who had been in the game for a long time were like $200 for a out of 10 or 200. Yeah, people were like, that's stupid. I'll never pay that. That doesn't make any sense. And a few people who had been doing that kind of stuff for a while, at least with 2013 PMGs, or kind of figured out in the game that eventually the low serial numbers would be worth it and had the income to do it. They basically controlled the market between 10 people. And then what got really horrible about MM16 in particular was that when other people from other hobbies started understanding what people were doing, they started buying things up. And then it became even more impossible to finish sets or finish certain collections or to get certain characters. And it really became a compromise on price, right? Like, am I really okay dropping $2,500 on a
ooh,
Just Go signature on something that he signed? You know what I mean? Like, it's really tough to be okay with that at one point. And
well, I
I
don't think
think,
with
yeah,
16, I didn't see much go over four figures. I mean, everything was still reasonable. There was that double panel Spider-Man sketch he did set on eBay for months. I think $700 because people looked at that as being overpriced.
yep.
People would kill for that now at that
Yeah,
price.
people would be losing their minds for that right now. Yeah, it's definitely a perspective thing. And I think that's how I'm starting to finally find some old school sketch cards of Surfer that I saw when I first saw the hobby in the 90s, which I'll share with you. Like, I was able to graph something because I paid a stupid price for it. Like, if I told you, you'd be mad at me, but I paid a stupid price for it because I'm the guy who wants them, and there's only one other guy who lives somewhere who's completely black hole collector but has surfers, and there's no way I'm ever going to grab them. So it's like the compromise has to be made, and I think that's what happens with a lot of collectors, and I'm sure that's what's happening now with
You
MM
have
being so
to. Yeah.
expensive. It's really rough, and this is not an episode to justify any of those prices that Upper Deck is doing at all. This is more along the lines of like, and I want you to look at Ryan because Ryan is a shining example of this, of practice and perseverance. That's all it is. Like, you practice finding these things, you look for people, and you just take your time with it. And it might be years, but eventually you get to a moment where you have a collection where you're sitting there and thinking, "Damn, this was a lot of hard work, and I kind of did it." You know what I mean? That's a
Yeah.
really good feeling. It's 10 years in the making type of thing. At least for me, but it's a good feeling. It
Yeah,
really is.
yeah. Concentrate on what you already have. That'll make it better. You're gonna lose
Yep.
fun if you try to track down everything.
No.
But
Def-
before 16 though, too, kind of my compromise with the retro sets were just going after the homage sets, the cards, and then luckily I did pick up the PMGs, but and I did that like like it was hard. I lost sleep on it, just spending a few $100s on that stuff. But I just concentrated on Deadpool.
I mean, it's impressive what you've been able to. I've seen a lot of your collection, not all of it, obviously, but I've seen a lot of it. And it's insane impressive. Let's get into some cards because I know everyone's like, "You killing me, Fausto." Let's see some cards.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
so I'm ready when you are. I'll set you up on the screen. I think you figured out your split screen here.
I did. So I'll start off with my first original art, and I think a lot of you would be able to see, get this thing going. There we go.
I love it so
So
much.
when I was 10, I think I saw Spidey do this. I saw a couple other people do this.
He's
So
the
I drew
best.
this. I drew this when I was 10. So this is kind of like started like my Deadpool collecting. But one thing that's cool about this
I
is not
love it so
only do I have, I do have the Jim Lee pack pulled. I don't know if you can see the
hell yeah.
auto on there. This came from a
Hell
good buddy of ours, I think mutual buddy of
yes.
ours, Jared, great
I
guy up
love
there in
Jared. I
Canada.
love him so much. He's my favorite.
But
God,
what's
he's so
great
cool.
about this is in like what was it? Maybe 2011 or 2012. I guess Jim Lee, I'm just speculating, or whoever had all of his art just flooded HA with everything. And I was able to get
Deep breath, everybody.
the original for it. To my knowledge, this is the only time Jim Lee has drawn Deadpool.
Regardless of that, for me, this is the Deadpool card.
Right?
There's no other card of Deadpool that even comes close to this. This is the Deadpool card, and that is the original
Okay.
art, which is an insane thing to say. And that's my opinion. Blah blah blah. Insert whatever you have to be okay with what I just said. But that is freaking awesome, bro.
But I mean, obviously, I know you're the same way. I don't do all this stuff with price. I mean, I mean, obviously, I have that. To me, I mean, I've been offered some crazy money for this thing. This would be like the very last
Yeah.
thing if I ever would ever get rid
Well,
of.
and people see, but that's a great thing to show people behind the curtain, right? Is that people don't understand that the really crazy stuff, it's not about money at one point.
No,
It actually ends up, unless you need it. Obviously, it's different if you need it. Blah blah blah.
obviously, yeah,
You have it.
priorities.
Priorities. Obviously, trying to help a loved one, whatever the case may be. Which is why things move in the. It's just the great ecosystem we live in. But for that to exist in someone's collection who has the cards, who has that focus, it's not
Mhm.
just, oh, it's a Jim Lee and it's stuff in a binder somewhere. You know what I mean? That's like your piece. You know what I mean? That's a great accomplishment, man. Every time I see it, I'm always in awe.
And this thing actually hung up on my grandparents' wall for
I
probably
love
30 years.
I love that so much. That's amazing.
So after I got the original pencils and ink, this popped up.
I can't believe you have the ass I
It's
can't believe you have
incredibly hard to do because these
to do the
production
pair.
cells, yeah, they I think they went separate directions with a lot of the sets almost immediately after they were done, or maybe
Well,
they were never even together unless
was this was
just
this
be
done by
traced.
Paul Mounts?
It
Was
was,
this done by? Yeah, okay. That's pretty good, right? That's
yeah,
not bad.
all right.
I'm pretty happy with that.
They've been reusing this on a lot of
Yeah,
merchandise, but
it's awesome.
they use the pencil and the ink, but they're not using this and these color schemes. Like there's a
No,
comic book up there. They're using like someone digitalized the color
yeah.
in it.
So they change because they don't keep this stuff and they don't have high end scans of it, so it ends up being kind of lost to the ether, But
I don't know why, but if you notice the stuff they're reusing, even like the Just Go masterpieces art and stuff, they're erasing their names, the artist
what is
names.
that, by the way? They did it in Star Wars too. What is going on? That is so weird.
Like I got the Julie Bell Iron Man, and then that I got that over here, but they made a huge poster, and then you can see where they sprayed out her name. It has to be something to do with legal, but that's to
That's
me
so dumb.
disrespect. Yeah, that's sacrament.
That's
That's
so dumb.
blasphemy.
No, that's one of my favorite Iron Mans actually from any MM series. Like I just love that piece so much. Such a good piece. All right, let's keep going. I don't know if our viewers are okay, but it gets crazy. This is gonna be it's gonna get pretty intense.
I have no order of how to show all this
You
stuff. So
show
I'm
whatever you want. Do
all
no
right.
pressure. Whatever you're excited about, I'm excited about. So I love
Okay.
that Anthony Tan.
Oh, I can go
Right?
over this real quick. Yeah. So Anthony Tan, a big shout out, one of the best sketch artists and for Marvel. I don't know. I think his first set was maybe Wolverine Origins. It was at least
Wow,
that
that'd be
set.
good. Maybe you're right. Yeah,
Mm,
that's
and
probably
and
that's maybe.
and that's actually the set I came back in where I started actually having like money to spend. But
That's the good. I love that.
I reached out to him, and he'll say this is his first, but I had him do a homage for the Jim Lee four cover X Men, which I sold
Oh,
off like a few years ago, regretfully. But after that, I commissioned him to do a 9-piece AP puzzle, and then between me and him, so I went through all the comic books. I penciled out like what character needs to be where, what costume they're wearing, like what era, and then like I
you're
gave
gonna be
him
my
all the
hero.
pictures. I gave him that, and then he did all of this. It's insane. And this is just a printout for a mouse pad. The
Yeah, smart.
Yeah, you saw it earlier, but the original is behind me.
Well, this so, but so many things to say. Okay, first question would be like, are those sketch cards? Because people might not understand. Yes, those are 5x7 artist proof sketch cards uncut. So what ends up happening, at least back in the day, I forgot when they stopped doing this, but Warren Martinek talked about this. Um, Basically, the sketch card artists would get these uncut sheets that were like 5x7. Is that right? Is that the size or
Yep,
5x7?
pretty sure. Yeah, yeah.
And they would get that and they would draw what they needed to do. And the rest of the blank space around the card would be where they put their hands so they don't smudge, all that kind of good stuff. And here we go. We got a perfect example and so good. And these uncuts got out, of course, or artists sold them just like any other sketch card blank or whatever. And people would buy them, like me, Ryan, and we would do our own little things on them and get commissions and so forth. And they're quite amazing, actually. They're really wonderful. And I finally was I don't know if I told you I got a blank for the MCC 98 because Surfer's on the back.
Oh wow, they still 5x7 back then. Nah,
Yeah.
that's
I know.
awesome.
It's cool. I'll show you. This is buried, but I'll show you a picture. But like, I have a blank because Surfer's on the back by Mike Waringo. This, yeah. So, but yeah, this Wolverine Deadpool. Tell me the artist. Let's see this sucker.
Well, this is my first artist proof. So yeah, I got in at X Men Origins, and then X Men Archives was coming out, and then so I mean, it took a while to understand what an AP was, but I reached out to Jim Kyle. I think he's still around, does awesome
Wow.
work, but I just gave him a concept of my two favorite characters fighting in the midst of fighting, not kind of like a posed picture, and then he just knocked it out of the park.
Jim Kyle, man. I have a Jim Kyle Silver Surfer from Fantastic Four Archive, and it was one of the first pack pulled surfers I was able to buy on eBay and find because he doesn't come up often. But I liked this stuff back in the day for sure.
I just like my sketch cards. I used to have like a lot of these.
So
But
good.
like I sold off a few. I kept what I thought was like the best, for the collection. But I do regret selling a few. But this one's from Charles Hall. I just
Oh,
posted something on Instagram with him doing Stan Lee. But what's funny about this, I don't know, funny, it's more cool. Is he came up with this concept, and then not maybe like a few years ago, they actually put it on a comic book, but they
what?
reversed it. So this is like the Punisher, Spider Man,
Wow.
homage, but Marvel did their own homage, but they have the character swap. So it would have been Deadpool shooting Cable, but Charles came up all that on his own.
Cable shooting Deadpool is much better.
I like it too.
Yeah, because it makes more sense. But I do love that. Yeah, Charles Hall is wonderful. So share your Instagram with everyone because you have amazing stuff on there. I haven't shared it with anybody yet.
I'm behind the times like a lot of us. So, but it's chimichanga underscore collector.
You're my hero. I love that so much. Wow.
So
What a gangster.
there's a famous artist out there. I don't know if he's been silenced or his art's been silenced, but he's very good with feminine anatomy, Axbone.
Axbone, yes.
So
I
his
met
two,
him
oh, have you? Awesome.
at Heroes Con right
That's
before
right.
we met. He was like walking around or something like that, but he was a trip, man.
But the stuff he got away with, like actually sketch card pack pull sketch cards from X-Men Archives is just scandalous.
Definitely,
It's great.
definitely rated R kind of stuff. Yeah, it was definitely it was a different time. Definitely rated R stuff. Highly collected too.
Mhm.
I mean, he was tough. Like
There
there were
was a
people.
one major collector, maybe a couple more minor ones that was scooping up all of his
Yeah,
stuff.
he dried up. Like all of his stuff dried up pretty. Like I never seen it on eBay for longer than it should have. You know what I mean? Like it was always
Mhm.
gone. This is so cool, Ryan.
I'm on the AP pile, so I'll just go ahead and finish
Take your
all this
time,
stuff.
man. Take your time.
This is another
Oh,
one by Anthony Tan.
that's so stupid good.
I know people give a lot of shit for people who slab sketches, but I'm like I like frames. I like how the presentation is,
No,
and
that's
then
different. You're
Beckett
not
is
doing it for the
killing
grade.
these APs.
Yeah. I love what they've done with it. I love that they do the master prints. I love that they
Mhm.
do the APs. Could you zoom in on that camera a little bit? Is that
Yeah,
cool? I don't
yeah,
want
man.
to mess up your system. Much
There you go.
better.
Is that better? All right, cool.
Yeah,
I'll keep it
much
that way.
better. Just so people can see. Yeah, and you can show the slab. So BJS slabs, it's not to get the slab out. I just want people to see the card. Man, that looks good.
And it's
See, and
Beckett can get like ridiculous on how big their slabs are, but like the
yeah,
proportion for these APs, I think is almost perfect.
I like them a lot. I have never
Mhm.
done it. I might do it. I really like it. I don't know if I have anything like that though, right off the bat.
I'm going to butcher this guy's name. It's kind of funny in this community. There's artists out there who's everyone's been mispronouncing their names their entire life because you really don't get it. Well, a few years ago, you wouldn't get in like verbal
No,
communications where you're
confirmation.
saying names. Yeah, yeah. So Benjamin Glendenning, I'm going to
Matt
butcher his
Fuller
name,
would
but
know.
he's
That's so
I can spell the name front and backwards. I just don't know how
yeah,
to pronounce
yeah.
it.
Well, your eBay searches, right?
Yeah, yeah. But he's a fantastic artist. And I think
That's really cool.
I think he started out in Marvel Masterpieces set 3. I know he
Oh,
has some
so
work
good
back
art.
there. He
Wow,
has this like cartoonist look to it. It's
I dig it.
pretty dope.
I like it when I see like sketch card wise. Like I really dig when
Mhm.
I see the artist's style in the sketch card. Um, who was I just thinking about? Jomar, uh, Bulda. You know him. I'll have
Oh
to look.
yeah,
Yeah,
Filipino
yeah, yeah.
dude.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah, he's
just think like
awesome.
that's really cool.
Mhm.
So many cool artists that just do different thing, Lodoc, all that kind of cool stuff. But I like this piece a lot, and it's
Yeah, if
Wolverine.
Ben's signature wasn't on there, like you would be able to
You
know
would
his.
know.
Yeah, if you've seen it before, it's
Like,
very
see,
unique.
that's what I like. Yeah, that's what I like. I like it when you can do that. If you can't do that, I get a little turned off by the work.
This one's by Joe St. Pierre. I don't know if he's still
Oh,
active,
screw you! I
whatnot, but
love Josephine Pinner.
do you get that homage by any chance? It's
Um.
not comic related, but Ralph Bakowski, I don't say his name. He's like this like old animator. Did like the original Lord of the Rings cartoons,
Oh wow!
like
Yeah, yeah,
late
yeah, yeah.
70s, early 80s. But one of his movies I grew up with was one of those blockbuster movies where my parents were like, "Hey, can I rent this?" And it's a cartoon. They're like, "Oh, that must be appropriate. It's a cartoon." It's not, but it's called Wizards. But and
Oh
this is the cover of
yes.
Wizard. So instead of Peace, it's Deadpool sitting on like the same animal.
He's super great artist, man. I
He
love
is.
his stuff,
I don't know
dude.
what happened to him. I mean, I kind of got away from sketches, but hopefully he's still out there doing this
I
stuff.
haven't seen one of his in a long time. I really wanted. There was a surfer on eBay for a while where surfers taking away the thing over a beach, and it was him who drew it. And it's so stupid good, but it just didn't fit the collection. But he's actually one of my favorites.
I don't know if you remember this, but they started putting their name Rittenhouse started putting their names on
Yes,
the APs because the less than great artists, would just start selling their blanks,
pretty
for more
much.
money than if they were to draw on it.
Well, it happened again. Now there's a code on the back of modern day sketch cards that tells Upper Deck which artist that code card belongs to.
That's good. I
So
mean, it's got to be controlled somehow.
it's got to be controlled. It's nice to be able to do this, but it definitely has to be controlled.
Get into some of the smaller ones right here.
Ah,
This is a double panel by I'm probably gonna butcher her name too, but me like a
yeah,
car.
yeah, yeah,
I don't know how to pronounce her first name, but a car.
a car
One of the
so
best. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. But these are one of the few Deadpools I know that she did.
good. She's so good.
Very.
It's so stupid good what she does. She's so awesome. I still don't have a surfer by her.
Do you know if
So
she
good.
did one?
She did one. I have a buddy, Rick Ortiz has one,
Mhm.
and it looks really good. But his is the only one I've really seen that I kind of liked. But it's still like I was going to do an AP for him a long time ago, but I ended up not doing it because just she had too long of a list. But it's really beautiful work.
Oh, I imagine she's probably, I don't know if she's still active, but for a long time she was probably like top 3 maybe.
Always, yeah, she
I
was
mean,
top three, 100%, and I rightfully so top three too.
yes.
Like I'm very opinionated about sketch card artists, but she was 100% top three for a reason.
She came
She,
out later too.
yeah, she came out later too. Yeah.
So
Ah,
so this is actually a hybrid, I guess, but it's a sketch card, but it's on published stock for Marvel Premiere 2012, where they did like the emotions and stuff.
yeah, baby.
So what's, I think you know where I'm going with this. So Nars is probably the one of the best ever Marvel sketch card artists. He's just unbelievable. And then and of all the stuff he's done, to my knowledge, this is his only production published Marvel pieces. So I was able to snag this one during COVID.
That's my boy. That's my boy.
I missed this originally when it went up for sale. I think it went on sale on Blowout, but yeah, it's one
Oh
of those
wow.
things like an hour. I didn't check the sites for an hour, and then came up. It was posted, sold right
Those
away.
moments haunt me. I
Yeah,
can't even. That's not even a joke. They haunt me because like it will happen within like 30 minutes to an hour, whereas it was that one freaking time I wasn't looking.
and you got those people. I don't know how they do it, but it's
No,
like
it's every day.
the first minute, first 2 minutes,
And I
claim
check
done,
every day. I
mine.
don't even no,
Yeah,
I'm so mad. And I'm there. I'm not like casually checking every 6 hours. I'm not like that. I check every hour on the hour type of thing or sooner. And it's just like just bad luck. Well, I showed you what I have from this, right? I have
I
the did I not
I
show
think you
you?
do. I
I
did.
showed you.
It was the ink or just pencils or
Well, it's the
prelim.
pencils because it never came
Okay,
out. And he
that's
only
right.
did the pencils. Yeah, yeah.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
So he did proofs for these cards with
Mhm.
Upper Deck, and I was able to get the surfer proof because it was supposed to be a surfer one called Longy.
Hopefully, all the line does that look details, or does it look a little blurry?
Very that looks it looks a little. I'm looking at it kind of small.
Because I
I'm
think with Nar that makes him just stand out is how
oh
small he can
stupid.
get his lines. It's
It's
just
so stupid.
insane.
Like
It's
the
out.
the amount of guns on him, the amount
Mhm.
of like textures and body stuff. I mean, he's just
And this is for insanity. So I know this comes up a lot. Like I am more. I don't know. I like the goofball aspect of Deadpool. I like how they kind of made him his own character and stuff. But I want him more dark humor, like
I like
killer
him.
type than
I
like
like
a
him off.
goofball.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like him off.
But
I like Deadpool when he's off. Yeah,
this is off. I mean, the emotion here is insanity. So
I love
this, yeah, he doesn't come off as a goofball in this. That's what I like.
No, no. It's funny when he's a goofball, but he's like, in my mind, Deadpool is like insane in like a dark madman kind of
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
Not
yeah.
not
Dark
just
humor.
goofball. Dark humor, yeah. Yeah, he's very cool. Just such a good character too. I love that you brought that out. That's so awesome. And people are looking for that card all the time. It's such a good card.
Yeah. Well, the reason this and that other pieces I have Deadpool is not framed is because I'm like looking for the right format and colors to get everything done. But they will eventually be framed.
Smart. Well, you're running out of room on your wall already, so
I have a whole
you
house.
gotta Oh, see, judging by your collection, I thought you lived in a shack, and I thought this was it. I was like, "This is Ryan. This is
this
his
is
one
this
room.
is all
The
I can
toilet's
afford
right
after
next to
this.
his desk. This is how he was able to afford all this
Well,
stuff."
luckily I got all this years ago. So I mean,
So you're
now it's
you're
just.
still good. No, now it's so expensive. Now it's
So
just
I got a good story here. I don't know if I shared this. Well, I think I may have. But in about 2012, 2013, I actually got a hold of Jusco and stuff, and then I had a 2012 Marvel Premiere blank AP, and so I asked him, if he could do Deadpool for me, and then he came up with this. So if that looks similar in style, it's because that one he did for me ended up being the used as like not the final, but obviously a later version for the Marvel Masterpieces 2016. I didn't know this; he didn't tell me at the time, but in his book for it, he tells why he had to go to swords because he couldn't use the guns anymore. So I get them next to each other. I know Joe will comment in the past. He hates drawing on these little like canvases and stuff, but his style. But I mean, this thing is just
It's so
incredibly so
good though.
detailed. It is. It
It
is.
breaks my heart he doesn't like doing it because he's so good at it. I mean, he's
Right.
good regardless, but like he's just also really good at this, so it's kind of painful when it's not there. But I love that 2016 Deadpool. I really have to say that is a great Deadpool. I never enjoy it. I don't get to see it often, and I just have to say it's just such a good piece. Oh
I
my
got
god, you have the whole rainbow, don't you? You dirty dog. You're my
except
hero.
except for the plates. That was one of the I don't even have enough freaking space for all this stuff.
That's the life I want to live right there when I don't have enough space for it. Oh, that red.
So those drug dealers where they just what do we put all this money?
Ryan's got holes buried in his yard and stuff cards just sticking out. PSA slabs.
But yeah,
Oh,
so this would be like the full rainbow minus the plates. But again, the icing on the cake is just what
no,
started it
having. I
all.
mean, like, come on. Like, how do you even to have something that becomes the source of a major card? Probably one of the most like you know what I mean, searched cards other than Jim Lee stuff because the Jim Lee auto is probably searched for more. But this is just and the trade dress on the New Mutants looks really good on there. I forgot what
Oh,
that looked like.
still a big fan of the what if or the variants, I
I think
guess is
what
what
ifs
we're
are
calling.
great, man. I have to be honest. Do you remember? Am I making this up? Remember when people wanted the autos for the base more than the what ifs? That was true, right? Remember that? People wanted like the base autos more than the what ifs.
I could see that being a thing because honestly, when these things came out, I don't think there was a lot of information about them. So I mean, kind
Yeah,
of like me, I'm like, what do I collect? And then
yeah.
again, it goes back to that slippery slope because a lot of this stuff was just sitting on eBay for months.
It
And then
was. It really was.
it's not Deadpool, but well, one of them's Deadpool. Well, yeah, this guy right here. These are like 1 out of 10 tier 4. I do have a entire tier 4 what if auto signature set.
Oh boy,
And if
that's
I
what's
told
up.
people what I was getting those for during release, they would just like jump off a building. But they
People
were they
don't
they
realize,
they
man.
were sitting there for days. I wasn't hunting for
They
them. I'm
were
like, well,
sitting.
yep.
I got two plates, two Silver Surfer plates because they were just sitting there, and I have the base. I have all four of the base plates. You know
But
what I
st-
mean?
but still, I
Yellow.
mean,
Yeah,
what we would have been like 30 or something back then. But still, that's spending a few $100s on a card back then was still insane.
it was insane. It was stupid. It really was considered stupid because also too you have to understand 2016 there has been some really banger cards that exist in the Marvel card realm before 2016 that people would pay a little more for. The Dual Auto, the Jim Lee autos, the Onslaught autos, little things that were missing from bigger collections for a long time. Beginning autos, certain beginnings autos, little things like that. And so people were kind of like, this is crazy. This set just came out. People can't be asking for this much.
And
Um,
nothing in Marvel cards ever spiked up to this point.
ever,
So
ever.
there
It
was no
wasn't even like
sign.
a thing.
Yeah, there was no
No,
sign of that ever happening.
no. People were like, I'm literally going to throw this money away
Yeah.
at this stuff. And it happened with the PMGs. It happened with a lot
Mhm.
of different types of inserts at the time where things were going very cheap because we were very much in our own bubble. You know
Oh
what I
yeah.
mean? I don't think,
I
yeah,
mean, as soon as this set got released, like people already forgot about 2015 retro. I mean,
over.
it just
It was
that's
done.
over. Yeah. People,
Yeah.
I'm sure, was
People
like liquidating all that stuff for this set.
to get into this. Yeah. And it kind of switched gears. And now we have a resurgence of 13 and 15 and 17 for Flare Ultra. Spider-Man became big too, and this thing people kind of lost their minds about because they understand, but it's still all really tricky, I think, in a lot of people's minds. But to a character collector, it was kind of a big deal. Well, it was a big deal. It is a big deal.
So I just mentioned the
Oh, you
Marvel
beast.
retro. So I posted this on Instagram too, but I actually just completed this just a few months ago. I finally got the Spider-Man.
Oh, really?
But these are all 3 Deadpool jambalayas. These are the only ones that are out there. So it goes 13, 15 retro, then and Flare Ultra Spider-Man.
I like jambalayas.
They're good. And I'm
They're
not even a
good.
sports guy. I didn't even know they were a sports thing until
Me
someone
either.
told
I
me.
had no idea. Like when I saw the Surfer one, I have a clean copy, which I'm really happy about because I can only find one. Really, I don't even know how many of the surfers exist, but like they're nice cards, man. They look
They
cool.
are.
They're fun. They're good
They
looking
grade
cards.
very well.
They grade very. It's, sometimes there's off centering though, right? Like yours are clean, but like pretty off centered for some of them I've seen. But
I should add the caveat. It grades well compared to PMGs.
thank you. 100%.
But
Yes.
so like I was saying earlier, I got burned out after 16. So I actually set out on 17, 18, and I didn't start
Yeah.
getting back on board until like around when COVID hit. So like,
Okay.
but what I missed in those years kind of sucks, but at least I was still around for the 16, 13, and 15 stuff.
100%. I mean, it could have been worse for sure when you think about it.
But it hurts me knowing I missed Fleer Ultra X-Men. But I've been slowly trying to get some stuff from there the last few years.
That's a tough one too, especially with how it was collected.
Exactly.
Really tough. Oh,
And I'll be the first to say I do not like this Deadpool image of him with a bat. This
it's a
is one of my
very.
least. I like it for what it is. Just obviously they're
I like it
the
for what it is,
PMGs,
but
but it could have
making
been so
that
much better.
decision, making that decision was really dumb. You know what I mean? It was a shame, but it's not. I've seen them pick worse images, and I don't think
Yes,
this one is that bad. So
right. And
I
they've
will
used
say
this
that.
image before, but they zoomed in on Deadpool, so they let the bat out.
Yep.
But yeah,
Still cool to see though.
this would be the rainbow for 2015 Marvel Retro.
Wow, that's crazy. This collection's insane. I'm always like so taken back by this collection.
Well, it's fun with this. I mean, I've been following you and a bunch of other YouTubers the last few years. So it's just, I mean, even like meeting you in person, it's just,
Yeah,
fun. It's like another level of going in. I'll see something being talked about. I'm like, oh, I have that. And
I
go
love
pull it out, get the dust off of it, look at it.
check it out again. I dig it so much, man. I don't know. It's really fun. It's really fun to think that your insanity is also being shared by someone else.
No, exactly. Maybe I'm not
Yeah,
as crazy as I thought.
I'm not as crazy as I thought. Someone else thought of this too. Wow.
So this would be the rainbow, again, minus all the plates for 2013 Marvel Retro.
They didn't do plates for the medals in retro.
I don't know.
No,
Neither one. Awesome.
don't
So
say
it
that.
is a complete rainbow then.
Yeah,
Don't
it's
say
definitely,
that.
don't say that. Why you say this? You saw me.
So this is only half. Oh
This
no,
is
that's good. I'm glad you said that.
yeah. The plates that exist in 2013 retro are the base cards and then some of the inserts, but I don't think they did plates of this.
No, I think you're right because I think the first plates was 16, right? Maybe.
First printing plates was 2012,
Oh, you're right.
2012 or
Marvel
beginnings
Beginnings.
2011.
Yeah,
Yeah,
2011. Yeah, I totally forgot about that one. So this is one of those ones where this was on eBay for a while, and then I forgot exactly what I spent. I mean, maybe like $300 or something. But it's like,
don't
do I
say stuff
really
like
want to
that.
spend three hundred
Can you hear
dollars
that?
on one card?
A bunch of collectors just jumped over a bridge. You can't say that
Yeah.
kind of stuff to these people.
But I'm just trying to get the mindset at the time because like there was no sign of any of this stuff ever being worth anything, and only going
Never,
down in value. And then like, I
never.
sat on this for like a few days. I'm like, well, I'll just buy it.
In Marvel cards, no one in their right mind at the time would think that Marvel cards had money in it. Like I didn't. Like I really did the Surfer collection, and I'm not selling it. Like I'm like you with this collection. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is literally my thing. I
Yeah, I'm
enjoy it.
happy it did go up, but like I never planned on it.
I
That's
never
kind
cared.
of,
No, I didn't. I
nor
I remember
cared.
having I remember having talks with my wife, and I was just like, look, I will sell the Surfer stuff I have now to buy cards, so you
Mhm.
don't have to worry. I know I'm going because I would tell her I was like, I know I'm going deep on this, but literally I'm selling stuff to just basically switch over at this point, and it worked out. But
And
it's
that's healthy. That's up to the point where the hobby starts paying for itself.
you
I
have
mean,
to do that. I
yeah.
think, and it takes a little while to get there, maybe like a year or something like that. But when it does get there, oh god, I'm so mad at you. You're gonna show this? Are you really gonna go here? You're gonna do this kind of stuff? You crazy?
Well, how much time we got? I thought
You
this is
talk.
what you wanted to see.
Right. I got like 10, 15 minutes. This is crazy.
I'd be able to wrap it up within there.
This is
So,
amazing.
So I have been going through my sketch cards. And I probably have like, I don't know, maybe a fourth or fifth of what I had at one time. But keeping it now, I can't remember everyone off the top of my head. But Sarah Richards
Oh,
is
I
at the
love Sarah
top
Richards.
left. Yeah, great. But I'll just burn through these real quick.
Take your time. The Sarah Richard. I still don't have a Sarah Richard surfer. I found
Yeah,
one.
she's got that unique look to her.
She's the best. I
Sure.
love her. I really love her, and she's funny. Like her sketches are so freaking awesome. Oh, Cook. You got a bunch of good
Yeah,
people.
everyone knows the collector for X-Men Archives, Katie Cook. So I did have two at one time. I think
Whoa.
I think I had another X-Men I sold to him, but he pings me every now and then. I'm like, that this one's not going anywhere.
That guy is so. It's. I think it's a guy. He is
It
like.
is.
He's so good. Like he has all the surfers basically,
Mhm.
but I'm just so impressed. I'm not even mad because he's just so good at collecting that. Like I
I
just love
forgot
it.
what percentage he said this years ago, but
Yes,
yeah, I think he was like, I want 80% of them. I think she did like 100 or something.
he's a beast.
A
He
beast,
has he a beast. He's a beast. It's so
great
impressive.
guy too, very
Yeah,
good guy.
very
Uh,
nice guy.
Eric Mall, I think I'm saying
Oh
his name right, but I
wow,
don't
I
think he
love
gets a lot
Eric.
of attention, but
He's great.
his great
EM.
work.
That's his
Yeah.
signature usually. I
Mhm.
really like his stuff actually a lot.
And
Have you-
she ended up becoming famous too in the community, but Megan
Yeah,
Heatrick,
Megan Heatrick.
very
Heatrick.
good.
I
Th-
love her.
this is like a close up, but I think she ended up doing like incentives later on where they're like more full body than just like
Yeah,
a
but it's so
close up.
cool what that to have one of her earlier versions.
Which so in 2011 Marvel Universe, I'm going to butcher this guy's name too, but it's
E-Man.
Eman,
Yeah.
yeah. But he did a bunch of homages to Dragon Ball Z and
Yes! I
Toriyama.
can't believe you have one.
Well, I
Wow.
had the Wolverine. I had the Wolverine Vegeta, and I let it go like 10 years ago. That's one of those ones that hurts me. And then
That's a big one.
he's just, I mean, it looks just like Vegeta. It's insane. Y'all
I
pissed
don't-
off.
People are going to freak out when they watch this. They're going to be like, I didn't know that existed. And I was like, yeah, it was awesome. Like, you can't get that past like Marvel censor people now, but damn, that's awesome.
And this is like sketch cards did go up in the community, like because like
Yeah.
people started going. This is like 2011, 2012 was when sketch cards kind of got insane. And that's kind of honestly when like that's kind of like when I started focusing on like OA because it's
Yeah.
like, am I going to pay this much for a card if I
Sketch
can
card.
just
Yeah.
at the time if just a
Yeah.
few more hundred I can get like an original from the 90s. Not the case anymore, but
No, not now it's over. But like 100, I don't think people realize that sketch cards. I can't think of a better Marvel insert than a sketch card, especially by
if done
artists.
right, yeah, that's a big
That's the
key,
caveat.
man.
If done right, and if it's
Mhm.
done by actual comic book artists of the character, or you've heard me talk to you about what I eventually did with my sketch card collection, where I was just like, has to be a surfer artist, has to be X person. You know what I mean? Like it's very rare,
Can't
like
be
because there's
Silver
no way.
Surfer poking his head out in the background.
See, you though, because you were able to do this, you have like all of my favorite artists from sketch cards in your collection. You know what I mean? Which was impossible for me to do at the time because I wasn't there. I didn't understand and I wasn't collecting like that. I should have, but I just wasn't there. But to see that you were able to do that is very cool to have an example of Deadpool from Charles Hall. You know what I mean? From all these people that
A
are pretty
lot
great.
of energy went into this.
It's amazing. No,
It's
I
an
see it
understatement.
because I know what I've had to do for Surfer, and your stuff is always like 10x, and I'm always
Mhm.
just like this man and Deadpool. Like I love Surfer. I'm not going to pretend Surfer's like top A tier character. Deadpool is top three character kind of person, and it's always so impressive to see what you've been able to do with such
Yeah,
a high demand character.
you're way too humble, man. You have the best server collection I've seen. That has to be the one of a kind out there.
You're
This
too
is
nice.
ridiculous.
I
So
appreciate it.
this one's got a cool story to it, but like you mentioned people collecting the same stuff. So it's same. I don't know if he's still around. I forgot his name, but he was a big Deadpool card collector. And me and him probably cost each other a lot of money bidding against each other. But this is one he won that one that he won that I really wanted just because this artist is Matthew Humphreys. That's my last name.
Oh
We're not
yes,
we're not related, but it's like my name with Deadpool. It's like, dude, I gotta have that. And he actually
you
worked
gotta
with me,
have that.
and then and hooked it up at the cost he paid for it. He sold it to me.
Wow, that's nice. It's better to be friends with like because my peer collector is Uribo. I don't know if you know Uribo Jordan.
I
He's
believe
been
so.
around for a bit, but
Well, was he at Heroes Con?
no, he was not. I should
I
have.
know
I
there's
should
a
have.
surfer guy there.
There was a surfer guy, a friend of ours, surfer guy,
He
but
went missing shortly after. No, you know anything about that?
yeah, no, I don't actually. It's such a weird situation there. I don't know. It's not buried in my basement. What? Anyway, no, but yeah, Uribo and I reached out to him because I figured out who it was. And there's one other guy who's even crazier than us, sketch card wise.
Mhm.
Um, but Uribo and I had to have a talk because we're like, all right, let's figure out so we don't break the bank for each other. Because we were just like, no, we can't. We have to have some kind of like understanding here because I'm not gonna do this to you and please don't do this to me
Uh,
type of
uh,
thing.
I'm sure
And
McDonald's and Burger King has similar conversations.
it was like a meeting of the minds. We're like, okay, let's figure this out so we don't kill each other here. But yeah, it's good to be friends with your because here's the truth too, right? For
Mhm.
people who are watching and who are going to go do into the character collecting, which is part of this video series I'm doing, it's good to be friends with the people who are also collecting your characters. Sometimes those people are bastards and you just can't help it, and that's the end of it. Whatever.
They're outliers, but the majority are good.
Yeah, majority are good people. And I would say it's always important to touch base because you never know that maybe someone's going for something that doesn't interest you really. And then they might vice versa. And you might get really good cards, good deals, develop a friendship like me and Jordan. You know what I mean? It's a
Mhm.
nice thing to do. It's a smart long-term thing to do. I love that
Yeah.
Wolverine tan. That's so cool.
Oh, this is all 10 right here.
So good.
So I think two are from Wolverine Origins, and then the other two
Oh, I
are
see it.
Wolverine
Yeah.
Villains and Universe.
You know what, man? I should have done. I don't know what's been happening to me lately, but I've been thinking about Marvel team up. Like I love seeing characters together, like seeing Deadpool and Punisher together, or Spider Man and Deadpool like that. You don't see it often. You know
Yeah,
what I
and
mean? You see that.
they belong in some of the stories together.
Yeah,
You could see it. It seems realistic that they would be
yeah,
like doing something together in a comic book.
yes. I loved that, man. I remember watching the Saturday morning cartoons with like FF or X Men and seeing like Cap come over or Iron Man come over, and you're just like, yeah, that's cool. So cool. Oh man.
Oh yeah, so speaking of printing plates, and then
That's my boy. This is what's up.
2012. So I do not own a full set of printing plates. So I'm like three or four where I'm like just one card away. It's
It's
so
really hard.
aggravating. But
It's
if I use the base card, then I can have all four. So
I think you're fine. I think you're good when you have one. I think you're even better when you have three. You know what I mean? It's kind of crazy. Oh
Marvel
wow.
Beginnings. The yellow sold, and then it's kind of like it sold like during when COVID was taking off, or I think it got up to like $200, and then yeah, just at the time it's like I'm not spending over $200 for a printing plate. These printing plates usually like $80, $90 back, just a few years ago.
Yeah.
So some guy, I mean, I think it got to like $300, but now I wish I did it. But at
It's
the
tough.
time, yeah, it's that
It's one
old
of those
mentality, I
things.
guess.
It's the old mentality type of thing, and I think that's what
When I was
I
a
don't know.
kid, a Coke was a nickel.
Well,
They all
Coke
say
was
it.
I hear those conversations all the time because I talk to people sometimes who, old school like you and others, and they're just like, I wouldn't pay that for that. And I'm like, you don't know what it's like not to have certain things.
Yep, yep.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I got a lot more, but I think that was a good
Ryan,
amount, at least for the first time.
I love how we're gonna do well, I keep saying this for everybody I invite on because I love the people I invite on. I always appreciate them. I talk to Ryan a lot. I have to say, this was crazy. First and foremost, this was crazy. I can't thank you enough for this. I'm so grateful for you. I know you're a busy guy. I know it's nice of you to bring all this stuff out. I know this is a lot of work to do,
It's
and I
fun.
can't
It's
tell
fun
you how
though.
much I appreciate it. Um, I know everyone's jaws on the floor thinking, how is this possible with a top level character like Deadpool? But it is possible. Ryan's been in the game for how many years now, Ryan, doing this kind of
I,
stuff?
I mean, with take my childhood out of it, I got back in about 2005. Seriously, about 2007, 2008.
Beast level kind of like stuff at that time, and to be able to do this is just really cool. And we're gonna do a part two if you're down one day. And
Yeah,
I'm
man.
thinking about doing, and I've teased this before. I have David coming on, the Beast Collector. Him and his brother coming on. We did a video, but it ended up being an issue, so I'll have that coming out to you guys soon. But I think I'll do a roundtable, maybe one night of a bunch of character collectors, so we can swap stories, have a little fun for 30, 40 minutes, see if people find anything
No,
enjoyable.
I would like that. I mean, to
It'd be
me,
fun.
I heard you guys mention this before. I mean, this is kind of like where the hobby is going, where you can kind of like where there's no one talking on blogs to scoundrel to blowout. I mean, to me, this is more personable. Getting to know everybody and
It's hard to read a block of text, and you know what I mean, especially when like
yeah,
tension's high and like you're trying to get a card or you're hoping a card comes up or you're reading through a bunch of comments. And right now the groups are kind of like a little harsh, you know what I mean, there's a lot of
mhm,
stuff going on there. So hopefully having like an open forum where people can see the stuff, talk to the people, and it's a nice record for us, right? We have a lot of
right.
stuff where we have
Hmm.
artists talking about the work they've done on sets, but right now my interest is very much on the collectors that kind of make the hobby, because the hobby's in a place right now where a lot of people who have a lot of money or people who are trying to strategize small companies buying lots and buying things, it's kind of taking the creativeness out of it, right? Like what you do is creative collecting. Like you've been able to creatively curate this kind of piece. It's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart, and it takes years and years and years. So, thank you, Ryan, again. Thank you all for watching this. Ryan, I'm going to sit you with one more last question, and then I'll let you go, good buddy.
All
And
right.
if you, what advice would you have to a character collector, if any?
I would go back to what I mentioned earlier because that is the biggest thing I learned is you don't no one person owns a character. And if you try, even if you have like all the money in the world, like it will like eat you up. So like there's holes in the best collections that are out there. There's always going to be. So just have fun with the hobby. I mean, the reason I've been doing this for so long is this has helped me get through the rough stages of my life throughout several years. And then
Yeah,
just you don't want to lose that fun, that entertainment, that nostalgia feeling for like when we're doing it back, back as kids.
yeah. And that's the core of this, right, everybody? Like to have, I built most of my friendships like Ryan. Are built through this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, I talk to Ryan more than I talk to a lot of other people, like a lot of you
Same,
guys out
man.
there. It's just true. Like, those are my friends who I talk to, and I value these relationships a lot. And that's what keeps the hobby fun. You know what I mean? Knowing that, keep the competitiveness stuff out of it. It's going to happen. You're going to feel sad about it. You're going to be upset that you can't have certain cards, or you're going to have to wait, or someone pisses you off. Insert problem here. But at the end of the day, this is the kind of stuff that keeps me kind of excited about doing this stuff. And thank you again, Ryan. We appreciate you, brother. Thank you for coming on
Oh
the show.
yes, sir. And dude, we all appreciate you, man. To everyone out there, I know people said this before. Fausto is as nice as a person that he comes off to be on the screen. He's a good dude, man. Thank you for everything.
Thanks, Ryan. I appreciate you, brother. All right, everyone. Hope you all have a safe weekend. And I know we're going to get a lot of comments after this episode. So I'm
Nothing's for
excited for all of
sale.
you. Nothing's for sale. Nothing's for sale. This is
Be
just a fun
buried with
video.
this stuff.
Do not hassle Ryan. Bye, guys. Have a good